Hello and a good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's postgrad webinar service. Today we're joined by University of Loughborough London campus. Now we've heard a fair bit recently from Loughborough London, but today is the turn of the Associate Dean of Education and Student Experience, Professor Dermot Hodson, who will also be joined at some stage today by his colleague, Dr. Tao Zhang. He will be joining very shortly. A reminder, if you are watching live, today's on Zoom and you're on socials, it is live. So if you have any questions, use the Q&A box, use the messenger facility on socials. And if you are watching on demand, webinars at postgradsolutions.com is the best email address to get in touch with us. I can see already, that's great. We have been joined by Dr. Tao Zhang. I will change your name. Um, Professor Dermot Hudson, if I hand over to you now.
Great. Thanks so much, Gareth, and welcome everyone to this webinar. Um, so let me introduce myself in a bit more detail. So my name is Dermot Hodson, and as Gareth mentioned, I'm Associate Dean at Loughborough London, and I'm in charge of education and student experience, so all aspects of teaching at Loughborough London. So, in terms of my background, I'm Irish. I'm a political economist. I work on a broad range of topics. I'm really interested in fintech, financial technologies, and their transformative potential. Europe is a key focus of my work, particularly the European Union. The EU is the world's largest tech regulator, which is why I am particularly interested in its relationship with technology. And I'm also interested in European integration, the ability of countries to work together across borders. So my studies have taken me from Trinity College in Dublin to the College of Europe in Bruges in Belgium to the LSE where I did my PhD. And I worked for a number of years at the European Commission as an economist. This was an incredible opportunity to see how Europe works up close. So I worked in the equivalent of the Treasury there, in the Directorate General for Economic and Financial Affairs, working on the single currency in particular, in the run-up to the global financial crisis. My real passion is for teaching and writing, so I left the commission to become eventually a professor of political economy at Birkbeck College before joining Loughborough. I've just published my eighth book. I've done 50 articles. Um, I've had a recent research project on how the EU came to borrow 750 billion euro after COVID-19, which was a lot of fun to work on. And I've supervised a number of PhDs. I'm also a visiting professor at my old college, the College of Europe in Bruges, and I'm very active in research networks, editorial boards, and I continue to interact with policymakers. I say this to introduce myself, but also to give you a flavor of who we are as academics at Loughborough London. We are research active. Our research informs our teaching. So, if you're on this webinar, you're probably wrestling with the question, do you want to be a student in London, right? London's got a reputation as a very big city, one that can be expensive. So why do so many students come to study here? And I say this as someone who did my studies here at the LSE. I think people come to London because it's such a thriving world city. It's incredibly diverse and it brings amazing opportunities, both in terms of learning, creating. The cultural scene is incredible here. But above all, it's going to give you job contacts and industry ties. It is a world center for technology and finance and culture, among other industries. So this is why people come to London. This is why it's ranked the world's top student city. So it's why I've chosen to remain here for more than 25 years now. It's an extraordinary city to be a part of. Yes, it is a big world city, but it brings incredible advantages to be based here. We are based at Loughborough, London, in one of the most exciting parts of London, that is in Stratford on the old Olympic Park. So we're specifically located on a place called Here East, which was the old media center of the London Olympic Games from 2012. So the Olympic Games was obviously about sport, but also about regeneration. It was about taking a neighborhood and transforming it. And we're at the epicenter of that in the Here East complex. So we're there as a university, as part of the University of Loughborough. And our near neighbors are companies like EA, Plexel, Ford, Sports Interactive. So we are shoulder to shoulder with industry, And it is incredible to see how our neighborhood has changed over the last 10 years and how it continues to change. Each month we hear new stories about who's coming to Stratford, who's going to be part of our community. So the BBC have recently moved there, the Victoria and Albert Museum have just opened two new buildings in our neighborhood, one adjoining our building, which is a huge vote of confidence in this neighborhood. It's absolutely thriving. And I think that's London at its best. It's such a big city that you never quite know what neighborhood is going to be in fashion or take off next. And I think a lot of the energy happening in London is happening around us in Stratford, where we are based. And I think looking back on the 2012 Olympics, it was not only a sporting success, but it was an incredible act of regeneration. And as an economist, I know that that doesn't come easily, right? To win the Olympic Games, you've got to be able to make promises about how you're going to change things for the better. And regrettably, that often doesn't work. But I think London stands out as a noticeable exception, in the sense that it really did transform the neighborhood in which the games took place. And a lot of people come to study with us, well, for a variety of reasons, but many people who are thinking about hosting Olympic Games in their own cities want to learn from us in Loughborough, London. So, Loughborough University is very highly ranked in the UK. So we're in the top 10 for major league tables. We are very highly ranked for student experience, and over 90% of our research is ranked as world leading. So we have a reputation across a whole host of disciplines, and we're really proud of that in Loughborough. Our philosophy is about talent meets opportunity. We're looking for really talented students to come and join our academic community. We want to nurture that talent. In the classroom, I'm constantly in dialogue with the students about what they need for the workplace and how the skills we're kind of testing in the classroom translate into the workplace. And we often take time outs in our discussions to say, how would this issue play out in the workplace? What skills do you need here? So we have a range of assessments at Loughborough London, but group presentations are one element of that. And when we do group presentations, we're really focused on how would you prepare a similar presentation for a pitch for a new business or for an annual report of a company, and what are the challenges of working across teams to try and do that sort of work. And I'm always very direct with my students that these are the skills that you need. If you're finding this challenging, well, that's good because we're here to challenge you. But this is exactly the sort of challenge that you're going to get in the workplace. So we're nurturing talent. That's why we are at Loughborough London. That's our philosophy. But we're also looking to connect you with opportunities. So we have a resident academic team on the ground. We are all based full time at Loughborough London, and we are here to try and unlock opportunities for you in the workplace. I'll say more about our industry links in a moment, but I would say that's what really makes us stand out from other universities is our commitment to finding a path for you in the workplace and using our connections and industry insights. So Loughborough University has many different schools, all but our school is based in the East Midlands in the UK. And we are a unique school within Loughborough. We are unique in many different ways, which I'll talk about over the course of my presentation. But one is that we are a graduate school only within Loughborough University. So we don't have undergraduate students. You'll come and study with master's students and PhD students. And I think that creates a very distinctive atmosphere and learning culture. It's very focused. People are here to really upgrade their skills and to get ready for the workplace. There's a real concentration that comes to bringing masters and PhD students together. So our philosophy really at Love for London is to get connected. That's our motto. And we believe in this in multiple ways. So one is to get connected by coming to London. London's an extraordinary city, as I've already mentioned. What makes it extraordinary? I would say it's sheer diversity. There are over 300 languages spoken in London, and our students immerse themselves in a incredibly diverse cultural city and a cultural ecosystem. I think wherever you are from in the world, you're going to find social networks and supportive groups to help you adjust to London. As an Irish person, I essentially think of London as an Irish city. Um, given its very large Irish community. And I like to think that everyone can feel that way about London. And I can see my colleague Tao nodding here. And I think one of my favorite moments of being in London over the last 2 decades was during the World Cup when Morocco beat Spain in a football game. And almost instantly, London felt like a Moroccan city because the fans came out, drove their cars around, beeping their horns, and the black taxi drivers were beeping in solidarity with them that this team, which doesn't get many wins in the World Cup, is doing really well. And I thought that was a uniquely London moment that it was there with its large Moroccan community celebrating, and we were celebrating with them. And I think that's true of any country I can think of. If you're from India, China, Nigeria, if you're from France or Germany, you're going to find a community that supports you in London, and that's what makes London great. We've got students from over 30 nationalities in our school, so it's a fantastic ecosystem, which kind of mirrors the wider diversity in London. We want you to work with each other to build connections. We're never happier than when our students work together, and some of them start businesses together that we're really proud of, and they build on that diversity and leverage it to powerful effect. We're also interested in connecting across disciplines. I think Loughborough London is uniquely interdisciplinary. And if I'm honest, universities use the word interdisciplinary rather loosely. Everyone claims to be interdisciplinary, but the reality is that a lot of universities are intensely disciplinary. They're set up with departments or schools focused on particular subjects. That's understandable, but it can lead to quite narrow thinking. And we know acutely at Loughborough London that the great breakthroughs come from disciplines coming together and the creativity that comes when an engineer talks to someone from finance or a philosopher talks to a computer scientist. Although people know that, it's just not often done that way in universities. And we were set up as an interdisciplinary school, and on a daily basis, I talk to colleagues from different disciplines. I learn from them, and our students have similar encounters. And that's I think, a signature part of who we are at Loughborough. It's not easy to talk across disciplines. It's much safer to stay in your lane as an academic, to only talk to other finance people, for example, but you miss out on opportunities. And I'm fascinated by the way um, Loughborough London is set up so that we have to have these conversations. We bump into each other and we learn from each other. So that's the way we're set up as a school, but it's also the way we set up our curriculum. We've got 5 institutes that I'll talk about in a moment, but they are very open. They have different disciplines within them, and we have real creativity going on in our school for that reason. We're the opposite of a kind of silo culture when it comes to universities. We also want to connect you through immersive learning. So we have a sprint system where we will teach dedicated modules over the course of 3 weeks. We'll spend a lot of time together, and on the fourth week, you'll have your assessment, and you'll be able to apply that knowledge very early on. And that's, I think, a very important thing to know about studying at Loughborough London, that rather than have a course that stretches out over 10 or 15 weeks, where you're tested at the end of it, perhaps not remembering so easily the material from those earlier weeks, this is very concentrated. You will be giving all of your attention to a particular module over a 3 week block. You'll then be assessed on it, and then you'll move on to the next one. I think that's got real advantages. So I'm about to teach a new course called AI in Society next week, and I'm going to spend a lot of time with the same students over 3 weeks. We're going to be able to really get to know each other and drill down and apply that knowledge early on. I know exactly what I am ready to teach them over the next 3 weeks, rather than just kind of embarking on a course that might unfold over a term that students might be studying in parallel with something else. We will have all of our attention in my particular classroom over the next 3 weeks to AI and its wider significance, and we will work together very intensively. That worked really well for our students. It allows them to apply knowledge. There's a strong industry focus in what we do. For example, in the module I just talked about, I'll have guest speakers in where we have an AI founder coming in to my AI in Society module, and that founder is going to talk about the ethical challenges of working in AI and get students to build apps over the course of 3 hours. So I'm very excited about it. But that's very standard for how we teach at Loughborough London, with experts coming into the room. So we also believe strongly in getting connected when it comes to launching careers. We want to connect your current and future self, right, and to get you ready for the workplace. So we have extensive industry connections, in part because of our location, right? We are right next to tech firms and industry leaders. We have very good relations with them, and we bring them to the classroom. We go and visit their companies. That's an important part of what we do. But we also have a dedicated team called Future Space, which you might have read about. And I think Future Space, again, are doing work that I just don't see elsewhere in other universities. So that's a team on our ground floor of our building, and they're running industry-focused events. They'll work with you on your CV. They'll do Monday mentoring with you. They'll sit with you and think about your career plans. I had a student who was about to start at Loughborough London, and she was trying to get the balance right between her interests, her future career plans. She hadn't actually started yet, and I was working through just her kind of decisions before she signed up with us. And I thought, well, why don't we just go to Future Space? We walked down to the end of the building. Immediately, she was getting mentored. We were talking about her career plans. There was industry links being discussed. And I think that's an incredible part of what our team does on the ground here. And that student experienced it on our very first day. So we're really committed to making employability and industry links part of your experience at Loughborough London. We know that you'll come to London to make the most of this global city, and we want to try and facilitate that. So, what does that look like in practice? Well, we within our curriculum have extensive collaboration built in. So, you'll have an opportunity to do something called a collaborative project. So, that will be working with industry leaders, and the industry will set your team a challenge and a particular problem to work on. And you will then come up with an idea that they will hopefully be able to take up in that company. And that's been an important signature module at Loughborough London over the last decade. So students have had a chance to work with a whole host of partners. So, for example, you can see on the screen the likes of Ford, Chelsea Football Club, West Ham United. West Ham United is very close to us. Geographically, it's a 5-10 minute walk away. We've really good links with them. London Sport, Sports Interactive, MasterCard. We really try and maximize our links with London's financial centre. We have links with government too. So students have done projects with the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, for Sport England, for our local community, Hackney, for example. So students really enjoy that collaborative project every year. It's challenging and it should be. This is not an easy module, but you're going to get a huge amount of experience, real world experience from this. We've recently launched our another module called Grand Challenges. So whatever program you take, you'll be getting high level disciplinary expertise in this area. But the message we've got from employers over the last decade or more is that they want students who come to the workplace and they're able to work across borders. So you may be a computer scientist and you may be very proficient in this. Of course, you'll be expected to have those skills, but you'll enter a workplace where you'll be interacting with people who are not computer scientists. You have to be able to persuade them to build coalitions and teams with them to address real world problems. So our Grand Challenges module gives you an opportunity to do this. So we work across different disciplines on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. These are 17 goals identified by the UN as the most important challenges we face as a planet, from climate change to the search for clean water, for educational opportunities for all. And we allow our teams to pick a challenge that really speaks to them and that they get to work together in these interdisciplinary groups. We had UNICEF in this year as our industry partner for this module, and it was really, really exciting. I think students learned an awful lot. We know that the module kind of achieved one of its main aims, which was to get students to come along and work on a topic that they hadn't thought about before, to challenge them to think about issues such as global poverty or the challenges of regulating technology, and to kind of disrupt their thinking a little bit. And I think students managed to work on topics that really excited them but that they hadn't thought about before. And that's, I think, in a nutshell, what challenging, high quality postgraduate study should be about. We believe in every module in experiential learning. So we're interested in getting you to solve problems, to learn how to strategize, how to communicate, how to be persuasive in the workplace. That's woven into all of our modules. We have a very collaborative ethos at Loughborough London, and you'll learn to be a great collaborator, I hope. So, what do our students say about us? Well, here's just a snippet. I won't read out the full quotes, but some of our students talk about Loughborough as a place of great value for career opportunities for students after graduation. We regularly have future job events where representatives from various institutions and industries introduce their fields to us. These events allow us to make connections and build a network. Another student says, one of the most valuable aspects of my course was the opportunity to engage with external projects and partners, such as Chatham House, which is a key centre for debates about foreign policy. It was a unique experience as a student. I also appreciated the chance to travel to the main campus in the Midlands and to connect with a wider university community. So they're just two snapshots of students working in the area of diplomacy, for example. So we think our building is very special. Universities, at least when I was a student, I don't know about my colleague Tao, there were like very dark places, libraries with not much natural light. And the modern university is incredibly different because our curriculum and style of assessment has changed. You're expected to work together, to collaborate, and buildings have evolved to keep up with this, at least in our case. It's a very bright, open building with plenty of places for you to work together in teams, to charge your laptop, to get a coffee, to spend time together socially. We have a table tennis table. We have big screens. Very occasionally, we have board games or PS5s available for you to play with in our lobby. So it's people come in and they say, this is not how I remember university, and that's also, I think, a sign that we're getting things right. It's a really modern, interactive building. So it's got fantastic lecture spaces and study areas, but there's a real emphasis on teamwork there. We've got cutting edge technologies like 3D printers and other opportunities, depending on your course, that you can engage with. Um, we really, really want your time at Loughborough to be a sociable one. It's important that you study hard, work hard to prepare for classes, and work hard in your coursework. But we want you to build friendship networks to really enjoy your time together. And we've created a space for you to be able to, I hope, take those opportunities up. Um, we're, of course, located on the side of the former Olympic Games, and sport is very accessible where we are. So we have world-class gyms, and we have plenty of opportunities to engage with sporting activities. So we have a team that work on student experience. And one of the favorite parts of my job as associate dean is when they tell me about the latest opportunities coming up for students to go and watch live sport or to participate in sport. So at the moment, we're offering students discounted tickets to West Ham versus Brentford in the FA Cup. Um, and students will be able to go along and watch West Ham hopefully beat Brentford. We should support our local team. But they have fantastic time when they go to those sporting events. I'll be organising a trip for the whole school to go and watch Loughborough play netball. Loughborough have incredible sporting reputation, as you probably know, and our women's netball team is a semi-professional franchise that competes at a very high level. When they come to London, they play a team that's located, I would say, 2 minutes from our campus. So we'll go along and support them in the Copper Box Arena, and that's going to be a great night out for everyone at Loughborough. But there's just so many opportunities like this. We're talking about taking our institute to go and see cricket later in the year in the Oval or Lords. Um, so we're constantly bringing opportunities your way to make the most of sport, whatever that might mean to you, whether it's as a spectator, whether it's someone who wants to participate in sport. Last term, we ran an event for women and volleyball, chance to play volleyball, and we have a running club that's very popular. So we really want this to be a home from home and for you to learn, socialize, and make the most of sporting opportunities around us. So let me talk about our institutes for a few moments before I hand over to my colleague Tao. So We're set up as a school to be very interdisciplinary, and that means having not departments that kind of are locked away from each other, but institutes that are quite open facing. So we have five institutes that are themselves quite interdisciplinary, but that they have a particular disciplinary focus. So we have the Institute for Creative Futures, the Institute for Digital Technologies, the Institute for Diplomacy and International Affairs, the Institute for International Management and Entrepreneurship, and the Institute for Sports Business. So the Institute for Creative Futures is very well regarded. It builds on an amazing reputation, really, in the area of communication and media studies. Loughborough is number one in the country for this, and it's ranked fourth for art and design. So we have a range of really exciting programs, programs like design innovation, communication and media, and creative industries. And our colleagues who work in this space are doing, I would say, extraordinary cutting edge research. So they're very invested and involved in our local neighbourhood, which is London's emerging cultural hub. So they're very interested in the use of immersive technologies, for example, which have become extremely popular. So we're located just a few minutes from ABBA Voyage, which is this digital representation of the Swedish group ABBA. It's been a very popular destination for many people to come and watch their favorite band recreated as these kind of giant digital avatars. But we have colleagues who work on the technology behind that kind of performance, which is going to become more and more important, I think, in cultural spaces. Um, so I'm always interested to know what our students and indeed colleagues are working on in that area. And our location is such a great opportunity and a place to work on those topics. Tao and I are part of the Institute for Digital Technologies, and this is an institute that's building on Loughborough's extraordinary reputation for engineering. We're one of the top engineering schools in the country with very close industry links to companies like Rolls-Royce, for example. 100% of our computer science research for impact was rated 100%. So we have a prestigious reputation for research in this area. We work on a very broad range of topics actually as colleagues. So we have a number of AI experts. Some of the leading AI researchers in the country are based at Loughborough, London. Colleagues work on autonomous systems, cybersecurity, wireless communications, the Internet of Things, digital twins, sport, healthcare, technologies, and financial technologies. So we study how to build technology, but we also understand its economic and social impact. This is an image on the screen of our AI lab from the top floor of our building, where PhD students are doing some really cool projects, such as building driverless cars. We've got the Institute for Diplomacy and International Affairs. So London is one of the oldest diplomatic hubs in the world. It's obviously a place where it's got a rich tradition politically, but also a very vibrant diplomatic network. It's home to hundreds of embassies. And our Institute for Diplomacy and International Affairs is very connected with that world. So it's there to get students ready for the world of government, policy making, advocacy, lobbying, and our students go on to really impressive careers after studying with us. So our students are really engaged in a broad range of topics, underpinned by the research of our colleagues on areas like global security, international trade, digital diplomacy. We are very highly ranked for politics and international relations in the UK, and we have very high levels of student satisfaction there. Our students who come in this to study in this field are very engaged and speak very highly of the attention they get, the one-to-one attention they get from our colleagues in this area. We have the Institute for International Management and Entrepreneurship. London is a business hub and it has got one of the oldest financial centers in the world. One of the things I do in my class is to take students on a tour of the City of London, which is the financial city within a city where a lot of the big banks are based. And it's always a really fascinating tour where we map out the history of London as a financial center from Roman times to today. Um, and we really get a sense of just the expertise and innovation that exists in that space. So colleagues who are working in this institute build on Loughborough's great reputation for business and management. It's very highly ranked for research and teaching in that space. And colleagues are working on a whole host of topics, for example, managing multinational organizations. They're interested in entrepreneurialism, startups. They do really, really interesting work in this area. And our courses are preparing you to be future leaders in this space. We get you to think very, very carefully about what it means to manage a global business, how you need to understand the location in which you're operating as a business, and how you can kind of take new ideas forward and achieve success and scale as an entrepreneur. Loughborough wouldn't be Loughborough without sport, right? It's the world's number one sports university. And we have in the UK these intervarsity games where universities play each other in sport. And it's my favorite, one of my favorite emails of the year comes in and tells us that we won this intervarsity game again. And we have won it for something like 43 years in a row, which shows how far ahead Loughborough is for sport in the UK. It is phenomenally well regarded in this area. So when there are Olympic Games or Commonwealth Games, we do a league table of how many medals current and former Loughborough students have won. And if Loughborough was a country, we would be in the top 10 of most league tables in the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games. There is a rich tradition of sporting excellence in our university, and it's always great to see unfold on both campuses. So we're highly ranked for business and management, and we link those subjects together with our focus on sports business. Sport is increasingly shaped by technology, by commercial interests, and we have experts in our field, some of them former professional footballers, who explain how the world of sports business works. And I think, are really leaders in their field. Always great to learn about their teaching and research. So, for example, we have one colleague who worked for many years at Lord's Cricket Ground on their sustainability team, and he brings together a concern for the environment and sport, which I find really fascinating, actually, and I know his students do too. So, we have specialized master's programs and pioneering research in this field. We're always interested in how you can translate ideas about sport into commercial propositions, into policy for government. And the connections that our sport business colleagues have with industry is formidable. So they have close ties with London Sport, Harlequins rugby team, the London Marathon, Formula E, which takes place in London, Chelsea Football Club, and Two Circles, among others. It's really exciting to see their work unfold. So the final slide for me before I hand over is just a reminder that how research active we are at Loughborough London. Um, Quite a few universities you've probably seen have London campuses, but often they're only there for teaching and they have a kind of relatively small number of staff on the ground. Whereas we have a very different ethos at Loughborough London. We are here full time and we're researching full time, and that research underpins our work. And one of the things we've tried to do as a school over the last 2 years is really maximize our potential for interdisciplinary research. As I've mentioned earlier, that's not always easy. Um, Getting people out of their disciplinary comfort zones is challenging, but we've created these hubs that bring together colleagues quite regularly to talk about a number of big interdisciplinary topics, whether it's AI and humanity, climate and ecological transitions, communication and social change, creative experience and technology, policy, sport and geopolitics, social inequalities and justice. I've been part of the AI and Humanity Hub, and I have learned so much about how AI experts think about building new technology. I've been able to share my insights as an economist, as a social scientist, about how we might regulate that technology. And there's that kind of exchange has been going on in all of these hubs. And it's produced some really interesting research. A number of grant applications have gone in as a result. So everything we do, from our teaching to our research, has that idea of getting connected at the heart of it, both in terms of your career aspirations, but also in terms of the interdisciplinarity of our study. You will come to us to be disciplinary experts, whether it's in accounting and finance or sport business. We want you to be experts in those fields, but we also want you to be able to connect with wider disciplines. And so you'll have additional interdisciplinary experience when you come to us, as well as that expertise in a particular area that employers will demand. And at that point, I would pass over to my colleague Tao So I'm happy to operate the slides for you if it helps. Just let me know when you want to change, if that sounds okay.
So hello guys, I'm Dr. Tao Zhang. I'm the Global Engagement Lead for Loughborough University London. Just now, Dermot introduced the institutes within the school, and now I will carry on to introduce the programs we have. We are a postgraduate campus, so that means we offer a range of postgraduate programs. We have five institutes, and each institute offers their own postgraduate programs. So for the Institute for Creative Futures, we have several postgraduate programs focusing on design and communication and media studies. For example, we have MSc Design and Artificial Intelligence, MSc Design and Branding, MSc or MA Design and Innovation, and Digital Media and Creative Industries, media and communication and user experience and service design. And for the diplomacy and international affairs, we have several MSc programs like diplomacy and sports, international relations, international sustainable development, public policy, and also MSc security, peace building, and diplomacy. And the Institute for Sports Business is our biggest institute, and they offer the MSc Diplomacy and Sports, MSc Sports Analytics and Artificial Intelligence, and MSc Sports Business and Innovation, MSc Sports Business and Leadership, and MSc Sports Marketing, and also MSc Sustainable Sports Business. And the Institute for Digital Technologies offers the postgraduate programs related to artificial intelligence, computer science, and data analytics. For example, they have the MSc Artificial Intelligence and Data Analytics program, MSc Computer Science, so that's the newly developed programs, and also MSc Cybersecurity and Data Analytics, MSc Digital Creative Media, MSc Digital Finance and Artificial Intelligence, and MSc Digital Marketing. We also have the Institute for International Management and Entrepreneurship, where you can find the MSc in Accounting and Finance, MSc Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management, MSc Finance and Management, MSc Human Resource Management, MSc International Business Management, and MSc Management and Artificial Intelligence. So we have some flagship programs that we would like to promote for the Institute for International Management and Entrepreneurship. The flagship MSc program we would like to promote is Accounting and Finance. So this one is designed specific for non-finance graduates. So if they would like to have a career change and they would like to produce a career in accounting and finance area, so this is an ideal program for them. And we are located in London. This is the finance hub, the global finance hub, and the program can offer a solid grounding in accounting and finance fundamentals. And we can also equip the students with practical skills necessary to tackle complex management challenges. We have a range of optional modules within this program to tailor the students and align the students with personal interest and career ambitions. And with this program, you can also work with our partners to develop real-world skills that we need to tackle the finance, the complex finance problems. And this program can also enable you to sort out the real-world complex finance issues that arise with the the very complex geopolitical tensions recently. So with this program, you will be able to get the hands-on experience. And for the Institute for Digital Technologies, the flagship program we would like to promote is the MSc Computer Science. So this is a conversion course for graduates from non-computing disciplines, and it offers a comprehensive and accelerated introduction to the core areas of computer science. For example, programming, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and cybersecurity. And also, this can give a hands-on experience for students, for example, the practical coding skills and also the tools that students need to develop the computing skills. For example, the Python. So this is the one of the most popular program tools that we're using at the moment for artificial intelligence. Students can also master programming paradigms like procedural, functional, and object-oriented programs. Again, London is the global tech hub and also the innovation hub. So students here, if they study this program, they have the opportunity to work with our partners to sort out the real-world IT issues. Here we also offer a range of opportunities to work with startups, especially the IT startups, innovative firms. Students studying in this program can also develop the awareness of entrepreneurship. So we have good example of students after their graduation, they set up their own business. So this is also a good opportunity to foster our entrepreneurship. For the Institute for Creative Futures, the flagship program we would like to promote is the Design and Artificial Intelligence, MSc. So this is a newly designed program which enables design and the emerging artificial intelligence technology. This is for individuals without prior technical training, but they are passionate about leveraging AI to transform design processes. Studying this program, students can acquire hands-on experience in coding, algorithm, and large language models. They can also understand the impact of AI on society and the design thinking. Students will be taught by the leading academics from other institutes. For example, we have the digital experts from the digital technologies, and also so this will enable students get to the interdisciplinary experience. So that students can combine the knowledge from design and AI. We know London is the global leader for AI innovation. Studying this program, students based in London, we can offer students unique opportunities to engage with industrial professionals and the cutting-edge developments in the field. Our graduates are very popular in the job market. So after studying this program, they are employer ready, and they'll get the skills, the digital and the cognitive skills that are highly sought after by the employers. And for the Institute for International Management and Entrepreneurship, the flagship program we would promote is our newly developed Management and Artificial Intelligence MSc. And this is a program ideal for career changers or professionals looking in to move into the management roles where AI drives strategy and innovation. So the program can enable students to gain advanced technical, digital, and analytical skills. For example, coding, algorithm, practical application of AI in business context. I'm an expert in the application of AI in management and social issues because I developed a very nice model, large language model for policy making. So I'm actually a good example of using AI to sort out management and social issues. So students, if you study here, so you can get hands-on experience from experts like me. Um, so the key areas we would like to explore with this program, for example, the AI in management, so digital transformation and the ethical and societal impact of AI on organizations and communities. And again, so the program is located in London. So that's the global tech and finance hub. If you study here on this program, you'll get to the unique opportunities to engage with AI innovators, startups, and industry leaders. And sorry, it's fucking. Sorry, just give me a minute. Um, and so this will enable you to learn through an immense and intensive module structure with expert faculty. And it's also designed to maximize the employability and the real-world experience.
So, I mean, public policy is a new program that we're very excited about, which really brings together an understanding of the kind of hardwiring of policy decisions. Many of us have worked in policy and we understand the challenges of getting particular ideas through government, lobbying for change, building coalitions to advocate for example, environmental change. And the public policy program is going to be able to do that, I think, really well. I'll be teaching some of it actually with colleagues from this institute, and we're going to really give you the skills that you need to succeed as a policymaker or someone seeking to influence a policymaker. So we'll have a number of really interesting core modules. We'll have outside speakers from government and the world of charities and advocacy groups, for example. And we're really excited about that particular program. Um, Tara, I don't know whether you can hear me if you wanted to go to the next slide.
Yeah,
We have sports analytics and artificial intelligence, MSc. Um, so AI is really increasingly important role in the area of sport, as is machine learning and big data. And you're going to get the skills that you need to succeed in that area through our sports analytics and AI MSc. So it's for students interested in data technology and sport, data analytics, which I would see as playing a key role in almost every aspect of sports, the sports industry these days, from recruitment for sure, but also to things like sports approach to marketing and advertising. AI is kind of hardwired into that industry now. So you're going to work with data sets from major sporting organizations, such as the English Premier League, National Football League, and the Indian Premier League, to be able to use data to generate important insights. So very quickly, we have user experience and service design as a new program as well. And we have a number of really fascinating experienced design thinkers in our school, and they're going to teach you how to put, I would say, humans at the center of design, right? Design is about empathy and understanding the needs of customers or businesses for using particular technologies, for example. I would say that's incredibly important also in the age of AI, where we often think of AI as something that will leave humans behind, when the reality is we have to find a way for it to work. It's sometimes called human-centered AI. These are the kinds of issues that we'll be looking at in that course. So you'll learn how to design user-driven experiences with innovation management processes. You're going to learn about the research methods that you need. You're going to learn about strategic service design and creative user experience. There is no better place to study this topic than London, which is a design hub. There are a huge amount of practical applications of design that you're going to be able to see and visit and learn from in that space. So we have a number of funding opportunities, which you'll have no doubt have seen on our page. So we have the Global Excellence Scholarship, which is 90% tuition fee scholarship for any full-time master's program. You have a Global Impact Scholarship, which is 100% of tuition fees for 1 year. We have a Future Leaders Scholarship, which is a £10,000 tuition fee discount for international students who have leadership potential. The London School recently turned 10 years old, so we're celebrating that with the 5,000 scholarship. That's for all international students starting in September 2026. So you've picked a really good time to be interested in Loughborough, London. We want to invest in you and your future career. So there are different scholarship opportunities available, and you should check out the links on this page and on our homepage. The London 10th Anniversary Award is very much linked to our anniversary this year. So it's not something that's going to be there permanently. So this is a great opportunity to get that scholarship, which is open to all applicants to Love for London. And we've really taken stock of our last 10 years, and we're looking forward to the next 10 years at the moment. But here's some of the amazing figures that our colleagues put together. So since we opened our doors at this school of Loughborough, Loughborough itself is over 100 years old, but in our relatively new school, we've graduated nearly 6,000 students. We've secured over 15 million of research funding and contributed to incredible research culture across the university. We have spent nearly £500,000 on scholarships for local people and communities. We've supported 160 small to medium-sized enterprises through workshops and micro internships. We give our students the opportunity to spend time embedded in businesses and organizations. And we've connected 220 organizations through our student projects as part of the collaborative program. So we're really proud of what we've achieved as a school. And we have very particular aims as an interdisciplinary hub, but also one that's very focused on getting you ready for the workplace. I think we've done that really well over the last 10 years, and we look forward to doing it over the next 10 years. Okay, thanks so much for your time and patience with our technical difficulties, but we hope we've covered a lot of relevant information there. Over to you, Gareth.
Yeah, we've covered a lot there, and I think that the gist that I get overall from the school, and it is a relatively new school, like you mentioned there, Dermot, is actually student satisfaction. I think there's a huge focus on the learning and the education. What does the average classroom look like for a student? Is it a large classroom? Is it a much more intimate room? How does that look?
So it will really depend on the program, but if I think about my recent financial technology module, for example, our classroom was around 25 students from a really wide range of backgrounds. Some people were very new to fintech, other people had started their own businesses. There was a whole real commitment to kind of sharing our experiences and our interest in financial technology. So we were in a classroom of about 25, but we'd regularly break into smaller groups so they could interact with each other, they could brainstorm, and we would be in that room having lectures, having workshops, having industry speakers. And so it was a really great size. Now, some of our other modules would be bigger. For example, if you're going to learn about coding, you might be in a bigger classroom. But then again, you'd always break out into smaller groups, into workshops, into seminars. So we get that balance right.
And can I talk about the wide variety of international students? Obviously, being from Northeast London and predominantly a very cosmopolitan place, let's just say Chinese students. Are you going to have loads of students from Asia and China, and therefore, what's the culture like when we're talking about like Chinese New Year, which is just finishing at the moment, I believe. So, how do you go about accommodating those students?
Well, we get to know them really well. We get to understand differences and celebrate their identity. So, for example, for Chinese New Year, I mean, that's a great celebration. We'll acknowledge it in class. We'll put on activities for the students. There's a real fintech dimension to this too, by the way, because we often have the red envelope for New Year, and that's become a digital red envelope
Oh,
in
okay.
recent years. So we'll learn about how people transfer money in that way. But a related example is that it's Ramadan at the moment, so we get a lot of guidance to our from our students who might be fasting. We're very alive to what that might mean in our classroom. I'm always in awe of students who are fasting but doing great presentations for us. And I'd say we are like very experienced at understanding difference and what that concretely means in the classroom.
Yeah, of course. And for any international students looking to come to the UK, obviously it's a very, very cultural place, very cosmopolitan, loads of different nationalities. And like Dermot says there, they try to cater for all different types of student belief and culture, which is great. So just a minute or so left. Whoever wants to answer this, whether it be yourself, Tao, or Dermot. What can students expect post-career? So post-graduation, sorry, because you mentioned earlier, Dermot, some of the links in the STEM industry in particular. What is there directly linked to fintech, let's say, that would make a student go, I want to go there because post-graduation, I can end up here potentially.
So we start before graduation, really. So, you would come along and perhaps study finance. This is going to be true of any other industry, really, that we work on. But you'll hopefully get an opportunity to do a micro internship, for example, with a fintech startup or a more established institution. You'll get to talk to industry speakers when they come through the door. You'll get to connect with them on LinkedIn. You'll get to work with our future space team about getting a pitch right for that kind of industry. And we'll stay in touch with you after graduation. Our alumni come back and talk to our future space team. They're always happy to come and talk to the next generation of students. And we're there to guide you through your career. And I guess very briefly from my side, I'm always conscious I'm training students for a long career, not just the first
Yeah,
opportunity after university. And I feel sometimes like there's a big rush out the gate for thinking about what the immediate port of call might be, whether it's an internship or a graduate program or something like that. But I'm really mindful that you have to have a bank of ideas and creativity and skills that are going to inform your mid-career opportunities too. You've got to be incredibly agile, flexible, creative, and curious throughout your career. And getting your foot in the door of industry is difficult, but maintaining creativity and agility, I would say, over the longer arc of your career is equally important, but not really talked about. So we're here to give you a bank of ideas that will sustain you for when you're a manager, when you're looking to change direction in your career. I'm always trying to take that long view with my students at least.
great way to finish. Dermot, Tao, thank you for your help. There have been a few technical issues in there, but they'll be edited out for anyone that will be watching on demand. Anyone watching live, we'll send you a copy of the edited version. It shouldn't be a problem. To both of you for participating, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. Any students have any questions, webinars at postgradsolutions.com. Alternatively, reach out directly to Dermot or Tao. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to communicate directly with you, as will anyone else at the school and university. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.